Hello, everyone. This is the lecture video for your final assignment, which is the magazine design travel article. You're going to be completing a 4-page magazine article in InDesign. I am providing you with all of the images, the text, and specific instructions that you need to follow to complete the assignment. You're going to be opening some images in Photoshop, converting them to CMYK. Saving the images save the images as Photoshop documents. And then you're going to open the InDesign template and follow the instructions in this lecture video. And as I said, there are specific instructions that you need to follow for this assignment. So the way I'm treating this is as if you were a designer or what's called a paginator in a magazine, working for a magazine. And the editor has given you the text, the images, and a template file for you to start working on. Because that particular editor wants things in a specific place, wants everything set at a certain specific font size, font weight, font. Everything is specified exactly for this assignment. Okay, so like I said, it's like you're working for a magazine and they have given you specific instructions as how the editor wants the layout to look. Okay, so I'm going to go over to InDesign and show you the template, how the template is set up, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Okay, so here's the template that I'm going to be providing to you. So you can see there's some boxes here. One for the headline. The box that you see that has the X through it is for the image, and you'll see that on the second page as well, that there's boxes with X's or lines going through them, and that indicates that you're going to be placing an image there. Over on the right-hand side, far right-hand side, you're going to see a couple more boxes. The first one is the subhead, so that's the secondary title of the article. The next box is the deck, which gives you kind of a brief introduction, 1 or 2 sentence introduction to the article. And then right below that is where you're going to put the byline, which you're going to put your first and last name there. And then right below that, you'll see another box, and that is where the body text or the bulk of the article will start. And the way that this document is set up is each of the frames are linked together so that when you place text in the first box and there's not enough room in that particular box for the text that you're putting there, it'll automatically flow to this next box. And once I start working on this for you, for demonstrating it for you, you'll see that the text will flow from one box to the next and to the next page. You'll also see a pull quote here, and that usually is a 1 or 2 sentence statement that's the editor feels is important, that needs to be highlighted from the article. Sometimes it's an actual quote from if the article is about a person, somebody's being interviewed or an event or whatever. The editor will go through and pull 1 or 2 lines and say, okay, this is what this thing I think is this statement is important. So I think it should be highlighted in addition to, say the images or the text itself. Okay, so that's what a pull quote is. And then down here at the bottom, you have a jump line. And because this is going to be a 4-page article, you always will see that on newspapers or magazines. If there is more text carried on to another page, you'll see a jump line, it says see page. And then if I jump over or scroll down to the next page, the next 2 sets of pages, you'll see it continued from, And that's letting you know that this article there was more to it. It could very well be the next page or the next couple pages in the magazine, or it could be farther back in the magazine because the editor decided that the rest of the article wasn't necessarily as important, or not necessarily not important, but it just got carried to the back because there was articles that had more space, that needed more space than a particular article. But in this case, the way I have this set up, this would be 4 pages that are right close to each other inside of the magazine. Okay. But even if they are close together like that, you still have to have that jump line that's going to tell you, hey, go to page X, Y, and Z, and you'll get the rest of the story from there. Okay, and then again on page 3 and 4 here, there are more rectangles for the text. And again, they are linked together so that if you put text in one of them, it's automatically going to flow to the next box. And the way that you can tell that is this little arrow here, the little blue arrow. I know it's probably kind of hard to see, but when you open up the file on your computer, you'll be able to zoom in and see it. But this is just letting me know that whatever's in this particular frame here, if it doesn't fit, it'll carry to the next one, until it gets to the very end. And then at that very end of that particular text frame, it will just have a box there letting you know that that is the end of the text. And then also in here, you'll see more boxes that have X's through them. That again is where you're going to be placing the images. And you'll have a specific image that goes in each of those boxes. And you'll have the exact instructions in on the Canvas page when you go to watch it or watch the video as well. But you'll see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go back up to page 1. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to go back over. I need to open up Photoshop. So let me do Photoshop here. Photoshop. Okay, so I need to, one of the first steps that you're going to do is you're going to open up the images that you're going to be using for this assignment. And they are named specifically. They will have specific names on them. You won't see all of this in your folder. It'll be narrowed down, but you will see the file names, and you're going to, in the instructions, it'll tell you exactly which image to place in which section. But you're going to convert all of the JPEGs. So I'm going to open this one. You're going to convert all of the images. So image, mode, CMYK. When this dialog box comes up, just click OK. And you're just changing it from CMYK to RGB because CMYK is the print version, print ready image mode to when you send stuff to print. Okay, so you're going to change it to CMYK. And then you're going to do File, Save As, and you're going to change the format down here to Photoshop. And then you're going to save it into that same folder that you opened the document up, the image up from. You cannot double click on those JPEGs because they will open up in preview or on the PC. I'm not sure what the equivalent is, but on a Mac, it opens up in preview. It doesn't necessarily open it up automatically in Photoshop. So you will need to go into Photoshop and go to File, Open, and open up the individual images and then convert them to CMYK and then do a Save As. change the format to Photoshop, and then click Save. So you will do that for all of the images that are going to be in the folder that I'm providing for you. Okay, and you're also going to save it right back to that same folder because of the way Photoshop links images. It keeps track of the file, where the folder where the images are saved. If you have them saved all over your computer and you accidentally delete some of them, and you go back and open up the file later on, it'll tell you, hey, wait a minute, where did this image go? It was supposed to be in this document. A reference image is in the document, but the image itself will not print clearly because it doesn't have all of the information from the image. Okay, so you're going to open up the images, you're going to convert them to CMYK, and then you're going to save them as Photoshop documents to then place into InDesign. Okay, so I'm going to go back to InDesign. Okay, so, and let me go over here to Word so you can kind of see what I'm doing as well. Okay, so I'm going to have these specific instructions on Canvas as well. They will have the specific instructions, and then you're going to have a text file that's just going to have the text, so you don't have all this extra stuff in there to worry about. But again, this is what the instructions are going to look like. So you're going to place the Lookout Mountain JPEG on the left-hand side, the left page, the headline, which should be on the left as well. And then I'm giving you specific fonts. You will have to go to the Adobe stock site, or not stock site, but the Adobe font website. And you'll have to load these or add these fonts to your Adobe account, because most of you probably don't have these specific fonts on your computer. So you'll have to go to the Adobe font site. And once I'm done with all this, I'll go over to the Adobe site, the font site, and show you how to do that as well, if I don't remember showing that to you. Okay, so again, specific instructions that you need to follow, font size, weight, and then color for each thing. So you'll have the specific instructions. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to place the Lookout Mountain.jpg, or should say .psd here. Okay, because you saved all of your images as Photoshop documents. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to InDesign. And I'm going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to grab or select, click on that box with the X through it. Okay, because that's where I'm going to place that first image. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to find that JPEG. Keep calling them JPEGs. You should convert them to PSDs. So you're going to find the PSD or Photoshop version of that image, and then click Open. And because you had that box selected, it's automatically going to place it in there. Okay, so you need to have the box or the frame selected and place it in there. Now, it looks funny because the image is bigger than the space that the frame is. So over here on the far right-hand side of your InDesign control panel, you have the fill frame proportionally, fit content proportionally, and then this has to do with the frames and the content, fitting that. So I'm going to click on the first one, fill frame proportionally, and it's going to automatically shrink that image down so that it fits inside of that specified that square or that rectangle that you're using for an image frame. Okay, so So let me go back, step back. Okay, so I have that frame selected. I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm going to find the PSD that I need to put into that particular square. And then click Open. And again, because the image is larger than the frame that I have there, I need to come up here on my control panel. And I'm going to click on the first one that says Fill Frame Proportionally. And it's going to size it down proportionally to fit in that box. Okay, so it's this first one here. Fill frame proportionally. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the Word document and I'm going to get the headline. So right here is the headline, Unveiling Untamed Wonders. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to come over here to where it says headline. I'm going to double click on that. And I already have the text frame formatted with the font and the size. The only thing you're going to have to change is the color. Okay. So I double clicked on the word headline and you can see it says owners, narrow, bold, 60 point, and then 72 for the leading or the space between the lines of text. So I'm going to go ahead because I already copied that headline. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to paste. So Command or Control V. And it's going to paste it in there and it's going to be that same size. Okay, because I highlighted the word headline and I pasted the text that I had just copied from Word. So now I need to change this to white or reverse. So I'm going to come to my properties panel. I'm going to click on fill and that's going to bring up my swatches. And I'm going to click on paper. So paper is white text or reverse text. Okay. And the reason I did that, or the reason you're doing that, is so that the text, if it was in black, you wouldn't have been able to read it as well against this area of the image. Okay. All right, so now I need to go over to the Word document and get my subhead, which is this one right here. And again, the text here in each of these boxes is formatted based on the instructions on the instructions. You will have to add those fonts to your Adobe account to be able to use them. And if for whatever reason you're not allowed to, then you'll need to find another font that's similar to it. But I'm pretty sure that the fonts that I'm asking you for are available with your subscription. Okay, so I copied the subhead. I'm going to highlight this right here where it says subhead, and I'm going to paste in that text. Okay. And you don't want the word wonders to be, oops, the wrong text. Sorry. Let me get the right text here. Didn't copy it. Okay. So the subhead is Explore Hidden Gems Across the United States. So I'm going to copy that. Come over here where it says subhead. Double click on that to highlight it and then paste it in. Then it's going to align the way it should. The reason it looked weird the first time is because I had the same text here, copied it twice, or I didn't copy the new text. Okay. And then the deck. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to come over here on the instructions And the deck, again, I said it is a one or two lines, giving you a little bit more information about kind of a starting point as to what the article is about. So I'm going to copy that. Come back over here. I have the word deck highlighted. And then I'm going to paste that in there. And it fits in there exactly as it needs to be. Okay. Then down here where it says your first and last name, you're going to type in your first and last name. Okay, so there's always a byline on the article, and that's letting you know who wrote the article. Okay, so the next box that you see is where the body text is going to start. So I'm going to go back over the Word document. And right here, you're going to see the font size and color, but the frames are already set up with those attributes. But if they're not, then this is what you would need to set them up as. But I created the template with that, with those fonts and those sizes. So all you have to do is copy and paste stuff in there without having to worry about that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to highlight all of the text, except for this one here. I have to take that out. Okay, because that was instructions that you need to do. Okay, so let me go back up here. All right, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go all the way down to the end of the text. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'll go back over to InDesign, and I already have my cursor in that first box. So let me zoom out just a little bit so you can see. So I have my blinking cursor in that first box there. I copied all the text from Word, and I'm going to paste it in here. So Command or Control V. And you can see it automatically flowed through all of those text frames. Okay. So let me undo that and show you one more time. I have my cursor here in that first box, that first text frame of the article. And I'm going to do Command or Control V. And it automatically flows, all the text automatically flows from this text frame to this text frame and so on until it gets to the end. Now, there is one error, or it says that there's one error at this point, and that you'll see that down there at the bottom of your document as well when you're working on it. That's just letting you know that there is more text outside of this text frame. Right here, you can see that little red plus sign. Now, the reason for that is you can see there is some spots that have too much space between the paragraphs. So I'm just going to go here and delete those extra spaces. Okay. Delete that one. So now you can see as I was deleting that, now it says no errors down here. So that means all of the text fits within those within those text frames that are provided for you on the page. Okay. There's one more here that I didn't get rid of. Okay, so I got rid of all those extra spaces. Everything is flowing in now where it should. Okay, so the other thing I want you to do when you're working on this is if you see back over here on the Word document, there are little headings for each section for before some of the paragraphs. And then on the name of the places of the images that you're going to be putting in there, the name of the city and the state, or the place and the state, are also bold. So you're going to go through and do that as well. So this one, you're going to highlight that one, and you're going to select bold from the drop-down menu. And you're going to increase this particular one to 12 or to 11. So to 11. Okay. And then this one here is just going to be bold. Okay. And I'll make sure I notate that in the instructions as well as to what needs to be changed to bold. Okay, so that needs to be bold. Okay. So then this is the name of the place. So we're going to change that to bold. Here. This. That one needs to be bold. Okay, so I'm just going to go through real quick and bold the rest of these. And by doing that, it just kind of lets the person, whoever's reading this, know, hey, okay, that paragraph ended, and now it's going to go start talking about something else. Okay, so you can kind of see where the next paragraph starts. This one here. Okay. So that's how you're going to treat the text for this article. Okay. And again, I'll have specific instructions on the Word document as well, and in Canvas for you to follow, and what you need to add, make bold and everything. Okay. So these 9 squares here, you're going to, in order, add the images that are listed here. So it's going to be San Juan Islands, White Mountains, Ozarks, Great Sand Dunes, and so on for the next 9, or the 9 places. Okay. So the first square, I'm going to place the San Juan Islands. The next one is going to be the White Mountains. No. Yeah. Okay. And the next one will be the Ozarks. And then so forth. I'm just going to continue following that, the list here. So Apostle Island. And again, each of the images are named based on the name of the place. Sedona. And then we have Taos. And then the last one is Bryce Canyon. Okay. And then here in this last paragraph, towards the end, it mentions iconic landmarks such as the Grand Canyon and Statue of Liberty. So I provided you with an image of the Statue of Liberty. So you're going to put the Statue of Liberty up here in this box. So file, place. So Statue of Liberty. And that will fit in there. And then this one here, this image here or space here, you're going to add in a map of the United States with little push pins that's letting you know the states that these places are in. Okay, so this last box here, you're going to select that box. You're going to go to File, Place. And you're going to find the US map with the pins. And then click Open. And it's going to fit into that box. Okay, into that frame. And then if you zoom in, you can see I put little location markers. Not exactly where those places are in the state, but just in general, the states that they are in. Okay. Okay, and then the last thing that you need to do is on here. So this is page 1, 2, 3, and 4. So on the bottom, on the jump line, so you're going to say see page 3. And this one here is going to be continued from page 2. Okay, so again, that's to let somebody reading this know that, hey, the rest of this article is continued on another page. And again, it may not very well be right next to the right close to the page, to the previous page. It may be somewhere further back in the magazine, but it at least gives you a clue as to where you're going to find the rest of the article. Okay. And then the last thing that you need to add is the pull quote. Okay. And over here on the text document, I have the pull quote down here at the bottom. So you're going to copy this and then come over here to where it says pull quote and paste that in there. Now I'm going to change the font on there because that font is too big for the pull quote. I'm going to change it on the instructions, but it's going to be 14. And when you open up the template, you'll see that it's a different size. So 14 auto, and we're going to do italic. And again, all of these settings will be set when you open up the template. So I'm just adjusting this a little bit here. Oh. Italic. Okay. Okay, so again, in that box, it will say pull quote, and then you'll take the pull quote text and you'll copy and paste it in there. And this box will be formatted a little bit different when you actually open it up to work on it. That's one of the boxes that I forgot to fix in the template. Okay, but again, when you're watching this video, that will be corrected. Okay. So then once you're done with all of that, added all the images in, added all the text, bolded the different lines of text here that need to be bold, you're going to save this document as your first and last name, and then magazine article. Okay. Okay, so you're going to submit the InDesign document to me, as well as a, you're going to export it as a PDF. And it's going to be a press quality PDF. Okay, so you're going to submit the InDesign file and the press quality PDF so that I can see what it looks like before I open up the InDesign file to double check everything. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about this, you have 2 weeks to work on it. I know it seems, to me, it seems like you could probably get it done in a couple days. If you just sat and worked on it for a little bit each day, you can have it done. But you have 2 weeks to complete it. It will be due on the 2nd or 3rd of May, whichever is that last Friday. But it'll have the instructions or the due date on the assignment page. And then that gives you time to work on any of the other assignments that you still need to catch up on. If I made any suggestions on anything on any of the other assignments for you to fix, or if you just didn't get something done and you still need to get it done, you'll have time to work on it. So we still have 2 weeks left of class. But try to get this done as soon as possible, and then work on, finish up your logo assignment if you haven't done that. And the brand identity or the brand package, your business card, letterhead, postcard, and Instagram post. Okay, so again, any questions, just let me know and I will email you back and forth, or we can meet through Zoom and go from there. Okay. So this will be posted soon. Obviously, when you see the assignment page, it'll be posted. So again, any questions, just let me know.